This is Unmuted with my girls, Z and Ross the Boss. Talk about it, ladies.
Well, hello, family and friends. Family and friends, welcome to another episode of Unmuted with your girl Z and your girl Roz the Boss.
Hey y'all. What's up, family? How we doing today?
Hopefully good.
Z, you
Hopefully
just gonna
good.
look at me?
Hopefully good. I was,
Were you
in that moment, I was like, who's going to respond to her, And I was just imagining, envisioning our listeners, our family and friends, like saying, oh, we're doing good. We're doing good. So I was just trying to give them that space. And then I was going to jump in.
okay? Because that normally happens in the chat. Maybe it doesn't happen as you pause to wait for invisible people to respond. A little
Hey,
crazy today. I see what type of time you on today.
I mean, I warned you. It was a fair warning. I am running on less than 5 hours of sleep. And then so I am caffeine ready, water ready, and I'm just going to try my best. Okay. I warned you.
Yeah, listen, I see your eyes are looking like my eyes. I have a reason though, because
I have a
but
reason
your eyes
too.
looking like
I
mine,
I didn't
baby.
get my 7 or 8 hours of sleep, and that's a valid reason.
Okay, that's fair. Come
Yeah,
on, you better lean into being a senior citizen. We only need like 3 or 4 hours, and
I'm
then we
not
just
there
get to
yet.
pumping.
I'm not there yet.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to give you the middle finger, but I want to,
Be
this is the day
respectful.
that the Lord has made. Yeah, I want to be respectful,
Okay.
especially to Morgan. She's on here.
Exactly.
I don't want her to see bad behavior from you or
Or
me.
you, because which
I was
I
about to
don't know.
say,
We can't promise anything, Morgan, because Roz the boss here. Bad behavior kind of goes
I can't
together.
promise anything either, so no shame.
There you go.
Yeah, listen. And to be fair, and the listeners will hear that Morgan has known me for a very, very long time, baby. So she knows all my bad
There you
behavior. We
go.
even do, lunch dates where she
Hmm.
comes for the BS to see what kind of foolishness we gonna get into.
As she
hmm
should. As
hmm
she should.
We entertain her a lot. She giggles a lot.
It's the best lunch of the month.
That's awesome.
100%.
All right. So I guess I'll take it away. See right there. I don't know. I think that I'm not the only one that's sleepy right now, but we'll just figure it out as we go. Morgan, welcome to Unmuted. We're gonna get into introducing your wonderful self. But before we get started, we're gonna do a quick little check-in. So, Morgan, how is your heart feeling today?
My heart is very full today. I'm very excited to be on the podcast. My a lot of good things happening in life right now. So my heart's very full. I'm very thankful for everything going on.
Nice, nice. Give us one really good thing that's happening that you're excited about.
Ooh.
Well, my parents might not like it as much, but I am moving out this week, so that's very exciting for me. I've been working a lot of night shifts to make that happen, so I'm excited.
Nice, nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We
That
gotta
is
drop a little
amazing.
freedom right there. Get a little
Mm.
freedom shimmy on. Hey,
Right.
hey,
Ooh.
hey, hey. Get it? The freedom that you deserve, friend.
Thank thank
It's
you.
so funny because I can put myself in your shoes, but also your parents' shoes, and I know that they probably
Mhm.
are not liking this, but on your shoes, it's really cool.
Yeah. I can see it from their side, but I'm still in the same city, so they'll be all fine. They'll be fine.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
but
It could
I'm
be
a phone
worse.
call away.
Yeah.
You can keep your coffee dates with your dad.
Sunday
Y'all can
morning
still meet up.
Starbucks. Yeah.
Hello, you can still do the things. Miss Z, how is your heart doing, friend?
My heart is feeling good. My heart's a little tired right now, not because of anything in particular, just I haven't slept. So I'm just saying that my whole body, even my eyelashes are tired. So overall good. Nothing that a good night's sleep can fix. World Cup is over, so now I'm just kind of like no more World Cup, no more Love Island. What do I do with myself? So I gotta just figure out what's the next play. But other than that, I mean, I'm doing great.
First of all, what's up to Spain? Thank you for taking Argentina down. So the number of texts that was going back and forth, that was the goal the whole time. I said, I don't even care who wins. I just don't want Argentina to win. So I'm glad they lost.
Mm.
I was equally excited that the U.S. lost, but Argentina going down felt amazing. So
Spain
Shout
won
out to
that.
Spain.
Spain won that fair and
Hmm.
square. I mean, you
Hmm.
can't deny what was shown. I also want to say the England and France game, that was the best game. That was my final game. For me, I saw the final obviously, but that England versus France was very, very good. Very, very exciting. But, here we are, World Cup less now. So, I don't know.
Hmm.
We'll see what we talk about later.
The ultimatum, I did see that there was a recently added, so check that out. You're
You know
welcome.
what? I had a conversation today with somebody. And they told me about the ultimatum. And I remember the last time I saw it was the ultimatum, the queer version. Huh. Once I saw that, I didn't want to see the original anymore because I was like, this is much better. And then so I found out that it was discontinued, and I was kind of like, let me like protest and not watch the ultimatum. But now you're the second person on this day that has told me to go watch it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Morgan, have you watched the ultimatum?
No, I've never heard of it.
It's on
Don't.
Netflix.
Okay.
Don't. It is people who are giving ultimatums to their partners, and then they break up, get paired with someone else that is also either potentially giving their significant other an ultimatum or have received the ultimatum. They stay with that person for a specific period of time. They separate, and then the person goes back to their original partner, and then they make a decision on if they want to stay together, go with the person that they were paired with, or just leave alone. Who the hell thinks that you can fix something by
Is
breaking up
a
and going to date somebody else?
is the
Right,
dumbest
leaving
fucking
person alone?
concept.
Hell
No.
no, I'm not watching that.
Yeah, no, it
No,
pisses you off. It
it's
pisses me
stupid.
off. But then I'm like, I just watch it out of entertainment because I'm like, there's no
Mhm,
way that I would, no way. Because the moment that my man got paired up with somebody else, that's the moment that I don't want him back.
mhm. Yeah, I'm like, you can just stay over there. Shoo shoo.
Yeah. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, no.
Yeah, it generally blows up in a lot of people's faces, and
Mm,
I know that I'm not mature enough for any of that because
of
I'm gonna
course.
choose violence every time. I'm breaking something or somebody's getting broke. One of the two. Take it how you want to. Don't take me on that show. Period. Point in the blank. Thank you.
We're a little toxic over here, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm here
Is
for
it
it. It's
toxic
okay.
or is it real?
Both.
Mm-mm. Both of them.
Both of them.
Mm,
I think. I don't know.
I also can't do love after lockup. Pisses me off every time because when you have a woman who has been locked up, men never hold down women who have been locked up, but then expect women to hold you down regardless.
Mm.
mhm.
Move around. Move around. No, absolutely not. It pisses me off every time. I don't watch it. I have stood in front of the TV yelling and I said, I need to protect my peace. I can't watch this anymore. So,
Yeah.
hmm
It's very funny the double
hmm
standard on a lot of these shows because you see it all the time
hmm
that if men do it, like for example, if men are playing the field, it's like, oh, they're just being men. But then when women try to do it, it's like, oh, she's a slut, or they're just like slut shaming you, and it's like, really? Cause
Right.
he just did it too. So it wasn't okay either way. That's all I'm saying.
hmm hmm
So I know I
hmm
got you riled up
That
a
could be
little
a
bit, friend. I know I got you
that
riled up
don't.
a little
I
bit.
said this. Please don't. That's a whole nother episode, and I will take this one over. Just being pissed off about it. So, God knew what He was doing when He led me to the lady direction. Period. Point and blank. Thank
There
you.
you go. And now, with that being said,
Yeah.
take
How's
a
my
deep breath.
heart?
Take a deep
Angry now.
breath. No, I was gonna say take a
Okay, fair.
deep breath. Think happy thoughts. Okay. And now, friend,
Okay, I'm
how
back.
is your heart feeling today?
My heart is great. Had a I had a wonderful therapy session. I had not been able to connect with my therapist for a little while, so it made me smile a lot to be able to share that some of the things that we were navigating in the prior session, that I had worked around a lot of that. So
Mm.
I'm a little puppy sometimes. So like I like to be pat on the head. So when she was like, "I'm proud of you," and I was like, "Be proud of me. I worked really hard."
I
So that
can't.
always feels good. It is. And you know that my therapist does not play with me or about me.
Mhm.
So So when she tells me she's proud of me, I know that she really means it because she's not just freely out here giving out compliments if you have not done the work. So
That's
it made me feel
awesome.
really, really good today just to tell her, like, the space that I was in now.
Oh, I love that. I love that for you,
Hmm.
friend. And with all that
Thank
good
you.
positive vibe that you just brought in, I think I am
Hmm.
gonna let you do the honor of introducing our guest today. I got a chance to meet her already, and let me tell y'all, she is an amazing person. And so I am going to let my good friend Ross the Boss introduce her. Take it away, friend.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that, most of the time we say, like, oh my gosh, listen, this guest that we're about to bring on is extraordinary, all those things. Let's be real. We don't need to say it because what we're never going to do is bring you a shitty person. Okay. We're never going to bring you some trash. We're going to bring you people who bubble to the top because of who they are. Right. And today's guest is one of my favorite humans in the world. I have introduced you to a lot of really special people in my life, but this one in particular, ever since she was a little pup, um, has made my heart smile, has evolved me, and changed my thinking as a woman. So a lot of times we feel like inspiration can sometimes only come from other adults, but when you hear her story and you get to hear what her journey is and her future is going to be, you will understand why she is truly extraordinary. I was introduced to this amazing little human because I had the honor of sitting back to back with her mother at work for a quite a bit of time. And when you are sitting in a queue with somebody, you get very, very close and personal. So from the times where she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna choke slam her," to "I love this child so much," and would shake the world and move the world for her. So it's kind of like I feel like my baby is growing up too when I look at her. And so I am so excited to have Morgan Flynt as a guest on the podcast today. And we're going to continue the story of talking about Disability Pride Month and also going back to those hidden disabilities that you don't see outright and the people who navigate those journeys and hearing the true story and not just the textbook version of what those experiences are supposed to be like. So, Morgan Flint, welcome to Unmuted with Z and Ross the Boss.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. Awesome. So, I was telling everybody that, like, hey, I've known her since she was a little pup. I think I met you. You were in like the fourth grade. So you were really little
Yeah.
and out here causing chaos and being cute with your little glasses and your little ponytails and just trying to figure out life. And growing up in the area and just trying to figure out what your journey was going to be. And then life shifted for you a little bit around that time. Could you share a little bit with the guests
Yes.
today?
So I was probably right around when about halfway through fourth grade. I found myself in the pediatric ICU with a diagnosis of type 1 diabetes. I had no idea what that was. You told a fourth grader something, I'd have been like, "You're lying. I don't believe you." Here I was stuck in a hospital, like not being able to leave, and my body was basically trying to kill itself. My pancreas was like, "We're not working for you. We're gonna actually attack." So as a fourth grader, that's pretty scary. But yeah, so I was diagnosed with type 1. I had to start figuring all that out at a very young age, probably 8 or 9, right around there. So,
Yeah.
um,
So, Morgan, for the people who don't know, could you just give a little insight of what being, because people hear about diabetes, but a lot of times they don't know the difference, or that there is a differentiator in type 1 and type 2.
yes. So, to put it in pretty common terms, type 1 is an autoimmune disease. So, that means my pancreas produces beta cells and they don't recognize themselves. They think it's like a virus or an antibody, so they kill it. So, my pancreas can no longer produce insulin. So, my pancreas is essentially dead. And you need insulin to survive. So, I now give injections or shots or I have a pump. To keep myself alive. So I can never convince my pancreas to not attack itself anymore. There's no cure. For type 2, it's usually where your pancreas is not producing enough insulin to keep up. So you usually have to do some kind of insulin on the side or sometimes just a pill, just depends. But type 2, you can reverse sometimes, it's not. But type 1, you can't control it. You never know when it's going to happen. It can happen to anyone at any time.
And generally for type 1, that you see a lot more kids with type 1 diabetes. So diagnosis tends to
Yes.
happen when you're younger.
Yes, so about probably 90% of diagnosis happens below the age of 13.
Oh, wow. So let me ask you this. Was there any indicator before that? Were you born with it? Does it develop or how does that happen?
So you're not born with it. It's really just your cells evolving on their own. There's no really even time indication for it. You can't really do screening for it. There are signs, they're just very quickly. So within like the same week, you'll probably get diagnosed. Lose a bunch of weight. You won't have an appetite. You'll only want to drink water. I lost over 15 pounds in 4 days.
Wow.
And you just become very lethargic. So the only real test you can do is go to the doctor and they can check your blood sugar, and usually you're taken straight to the emergency room after that.
So now I know that with your diagnosis, you were sharing like, hey, I was taken to the hospital, but your family was like on vacation. Y'all were chilling, having a great time, and then you ended up in the ER. Um, I know that, not understanding what that diagnosis meant for you, there was also your parents, right, who were hearing this for the first time. Looking at it now, how do you see their response to hearing your diagnosis?
Right, because it was quite a few years ago now. And type 1 wasn't as prevalent as it is now, even. So it was kind of like something none of us had heard of. So for my parents to hear that their only daughter is, in the hospital in the ICU with this disease and it's gonna be there for the rest of her life and she has to control it every single day, like that's very scary as a parent, I'm sure. That's a lot of unknown and that's a lot of being scared for your child and what their future has to hold.
For sure. I can imagine.
So you came back from vacation with a whole different gift.
Goodness.
That
Yeah,
was a
I
totally
mean,
different souvenir.
Right. I was
Totally
about
with
to
the
different
say, what
souvenir.
a souvenir.
a whole
Mhm.
minivan of medical supplies. So yeah.
Mhm. So you get this diagnosis. You're like, what in the world does this mean? You just know, like, hey, I'm in fourth grade, bro. I'm just trying to get to fifth grade where I
Literally.
have a little bit more say in running the school. But now you have all of these additional things that you come home to. Staying on the topic of your parents, we talked a little bit about like their response when you got home. Like, how do you manage that of just like, okay, you were doing finger pricks at the time and that has to be monitored, but you're in fourth grade. So do I trust a fourth grader to prick her own
Right.
finger and be able to
Oh,
do a
yeah.
reading? So your parents had to shoulder a lot of that weight. What was that like?
Right. Well, first, thank God they didn't trust me because no, that wouldn't have worked. But it was a learning curve, right? So when I got diagnosed, CGMs or continuous glucose monitors weren't really a thing. So you were
Right.
having to check almost every 2 hours, every time I ate, every time after I ate, waking up in the middle of the night. So for them to have to learn how to do that, have to learn the correct ranges, have to learn what to do, when to watch it, they had to learn the signs of what my body would show when things were off. It was hard for them. It really was. They were losing sleep over it. They couldn't focus at work because of it. It was hard. It really was. They also had another kid they had to take care of too. So it wasn't like I could be their only focus. Like that's life gets in the way.
Yeah, and those
Hmm.
pricks on the finger, they hurt.
I know. I'm sure I was a grumpy fourth grader. I was trying to learn cursive, not trying to keep myself alive. Like I had bigger things to do.
Right.
Hmm. Hmm. So one of the stories we were sharing with Z in the prep session for this was how your dad would get up in the mornings, on the wee hours of the mornings, because he would, be worried just to make sure that, your levels were under control. What was what was that journey like? Like, hey, I just fell asleep, bro, and then here you
Oof.
come
Right. Yeah.
disturbing my peace.
I will never forget him like shoving me awake, like, give me your finger. I think in the very end of it, I started giving him the middle finger to prick. I was like, here, like, just take it, like it was, and every morning I was mad at him. Every morning I woke up, I'm like, don't talk to me, don't talk to me. But he was doing it because he was worried. He really was. But like I said, me as a 10-year-old, I was like, that's my sleep. Don't
Yeah.
talk to me, don't talk to me, don't wake me up. But I wasn't gonna do it myself either, so
Yeah.
there wasn't really much of an option there. But yeah, it was rough. We probably still have beef because of it today.
It's sort of like that when you're in the when you're in the hospital and you stay overnight and they're constantly waking you up, and it's whenever you finally get to go to sleep and they're constantly checking
Mhm.
up on you and you're just like, "Thank you for keeping me alive, but also I hate you."
Yes, it is. It's the internal rage, and I do it to my patients now, and I'm like, "I know how you feel." But yeah, it is like that.
All right, because 'cause you're a night shift
Mhm.
nurse, right?
Yeah, so I work night shift now.
Oh,
Yep, so
see?
every morning at 3 AM, I get to wake up my patients. Yeah.
Like, sorry, y'all. It has to be done, doll babies. It has to be
It's
Full
like the
done.
circle
ultimate
moment,
karma.
but maybe that also helped you more to understand the situation with that your dad had to go through.
It does, it does. I do feel bad for him now, especially because he had to deal with me again in the morning, but,
Mhm.
we got through
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you were sharing a little earlier, there was not a lot that you all knew about type 1 diabetes. And you're just, learning on the fly of like, this is where medicine is right now. But even outside of like the medical pieces, being a young person who is just trying to figure out where you fit in, you have your awkward phase, and like what does this mean for your life? And now you have this thing that makes you a little bit different than your classmates.
Mhm.
So, going back to school and your parents having to have conversations with your teachers and your nurses, and you just want to be, a little girl who is again just trying to figure out what you're going to have for lunch.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what was that journey like of like the navigating, I just want to be like everybody else and just exist.
Right. That definitely, I think, was probably the hardest part because, like you said, like as a fourth grader, I'm trying to fit in. I'm not trying to make myself known by anything, especially like sticking out in any negative way. So when I come back to school and I'm carrying this duffel bag all of a sudden, and it's got my name on it, and my teachers are checking on me every 5 minutes, and I'm going to the nurse 4 times a day, people start asking questions. And that really
Yeah.
was the hardest part because then, I tried to hide my diagnosis for a long time from my peers. I did. So then having to explain, "Oh, I have diabetes," and then they'd be like, "Oh, well, my grandma has that," then you have to go and a fourth grader's never gonna understand that. They're not. You can't be like, "Well, that's different." They're like, "No, it's not," like so that's hard. That was hard mentally, especially because there was just not that much information about it. It wasn't easy for me to describe it when I didn't know much about it myself. I just knew how to do the bare minimum for myself to keep myself safe.
Yeah.
Hmm. And like, were there moments where you were like, F this, I'm not doing it?
Yes, my poor parents. I can remember countless tantrums on the kitchen floor, me saying, "I'm not giving myself a shot. I'm not doing it. I'm tired of pricking myself. I'm not checking my blood sugar. I'm not counting carbs." Countless, countless tantrums and fights in that kitchen, because it's burnout. It is. At such a young age, I'm having to keep myself alive, making hundreds to thousands of decisions a day, having to count, having to do things. And if I mess up, like that's my personal health I'm affecting. So, it was hard. It took me quite a long time to figure that out, probably up to 4 years to really be okay with my diagnosis, especially in public. That was even another thing. Like, I'm sitting in a booth at the Mexican restaurant, giving myself a shot, and people are like, "What is that kid
Mhm.
doing?" Like, it was a different world. It really is.
Hmm.
I can imagine. I think I was telling you, I was mentioning to Morgan when we were prepping that I was one of those people that was like, "Oh, diabetes, that's when you get older," or like that runs in your family. So you just have to make sure that you try to, diabetes runs in my family. So usually when people get older, so hearing it that it can happen to a child, that was news to me too. So to your point, and then at one point I was like, huh, does it matter how the parents feed you or what? And it's like you're telling me that it's quite the opposite of that. And then so I think it's just people not knowing the truth behind it. And to your point, thinking, oh, really? How do you have that? And then so you being so brave about it too, because I can relate to an extent because I have a disability. I I'm deaf from one ear, and I remember, but I could hide it. That wasn't life threatening. So I would try my best. I would not sit in the back. I would sit in the front just to make sure that I could hear everything from my other ear. There were a lot of things that I had to implement, but it was hard. It was exhausting trying to hide it. Whereas when I became an adult, I was just able to shout it out and not be ashamed of it, which I don't know if you felt that as well, feeling ashamed
Mhm.
for something that you had no control over. But once like your friends and like people from school started noticing or you became open about it, did the way they treated you change? Did you feel like at any point like, oh my God, they're like doing too much, like I don't need this much attention? Or did you get bullied? What were some of the situations that you had to deal with once you decided to open up and own your truth?
Yeah, so once I did finally open up, I was open about my diabetes. I was like doing shots in the middle of class, like I genuinely didn't care who saw it. I very quickly learned who were really good friends and who were people I just really needed to stay away from. I had people coming up to me like, "Oh, well, you always have snacks. We'll be your friend." I'm like, "No, that's not how that works." Or I had people like, be like, "Ew, she has diabetes. Like, you can't touch her." And I'm like, "Okay, it's not the cheese touch. We're good." Like, but then I really quickly found my core group in elementary school and middle school of who were sticking there with me and who were really understood what I was trying to say. So it kind of benefited me in a way. I got a lot of drama out of the way pretty early on, but it was tough. It really was.
And I know that a lot of people you were really blessed when you came back home because the doctors that you had who helped you manage your diabetes had started a camp for diabetic kids because they saw so many kids, especially at your school, who were navigating diabetes and having a lot of the same challenges, but feeling like they were the only ones who were navigating it. So, could you share a little bit about your experience with the camp?
Yes, so it's a camp in Roanoke called Camp Too Sweet. I actually volunteer there now as an adult diabetic. It was great. So it's like all these kids, like 15 and under, who all have type 1, and we're there for a week and we're doing regular camp activities, but there were nurses there to help us with our type 1. There were people there watching for signs of low or high blood sugars. There were people, there were supplies. So we could take a week. Yes, we're all still diabetic, but we could just be a kid. We didn't have to think about it. We could have just been kids. We could see each other that there were other kids near us, around us, people we even knew who had type 1, and we weren't going through it alone, which was huge. Even having the best support system that I had, it's not the same with me being the only one having type 1. People can never truly understand my daily life. So being put in a camp with all the kids having it was a game changer, and to this day, it's probably one of the best experiences I had as a diabetic.
Hmm. And how do you think that changed your perspective? Like once you got back, were there certain things that you did that made you feel empowered that you're just like, hey, now I'm going to go and, you know, advocate for myself in this way?
Yeah, I do. I think I was definitely more okay with like doing stuff in front of my peers. And then I'm like, well, I'm gonna go check my blood sugar, and I'm strong enough to prick my finger, and you can't do it without crying. Like I was. It was great. Like I can give myself a shot, and you're crying for your flu shot, and I do shots multiple times a day. Like it was like small things like that, and it did. It made me feel strong as a person that I'm taking care of myself. I'm keeping myself alive, and not anyone else my age could have done that.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
amazing. I still flinch at the thought that I have to inject myself in any type of way. So the fact that you did it at
Mhm.
such a young age, wow, that's very amazing for sure. Yeah, so what I was gonna ask is, I know you mentioned that you now work as a night shift nurse. Going through
Mhm.
this journey of trying to figure out your illness, how to control it, and all the things, what led you to this career of choice? Did you know early on? Did your diagnosis have something to do with it?
Right. So I knew before I got diagnosed, thanks to Grey's Anatomy, that I wanted to work in the medical field. Yeah, it was because of that show. But I learned after getting diagnosed with type 1 that I wanted to be a nurse. I had one specific nurse. Her name is Jenny. I still talk to her to this day. And she was there for me the whole step. She made sure I felt heard, and she made sure she really listened. She wasn't just asking me the basic medical questions. She was listening to how I was doing personally, and that really made a difference. And that made me fall in love with bedside nursing. She talked me through my burnout phases. She visited me in the hospital when I was in diabetic ketoacidosis. Like she made sure she was there when she didn't need to be. So that really made me fall in love with bedside, and that's still why I do it today.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Go on. Come on. Can we give a round of applause to those
Yes.
nurses?
Yeah, they're great.
So let me ask you,
Mhm.
Grey's
Mhm.
Anatomy, how accurate is that to the actual being a nurse? Is there any type of accuracy or no?
No, it's nothing. It really is. No comparison.
Dang.
It's like I watch it now to make myself laugh at how wrong it is.
Okay. Okay,
Mhm.
fair. Because
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Some of those episodes made me question. Maybe I can poke people and not do other things, but thank you for clarifying that for us.
No, yeah, it's humorous, honestly. Yeah.
So I laugh because I have given your mom such shit about the 397 seasons of Grey's Anatomy because I think that y'all decided to go back from the beginning and start all over again. And I said, why the hell are you doing that?
That's how you're supposed to do it.
But I'm like, you were done. Like you're actively
Oh,
watching it and then you're going back and watching it from the beginning. And she was like, we love this show. And I was like, I'm judging y'all. I'm judging y'all.
Oh, I
yeah.
remember those conversations. Yeah. Me and
Yeah.
my mom have probably watched it at least 3 times all the way through at this
How,
point.
Okay, so an actual question. How do you do it? I haven't even finished. I am probably not even halfway. Me and my daughter tried that to okay, we're
Mhm.
going to dedicate ourselves. We're going to watch it. Yep, I'm not even halfway done. I'm not going to lie to you. So, how do y'all manage to do it? Watch it 3 times.
We have a lot of wine nights while we do it. A lot of wine nights. So there's
Hmm.
little incentives there, or we'll go get takeout and then do more wine nights. Or it's our when we have the house and it's peaceful and there's no males in the house for
Yeah,
once, and it's just like, yep, this is our time. So it
it's
is. We
awesome.
just laugh the whole time though. It's our comfort show at this point.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love it. I love it. I don't know. I never had any intention of going to the medical field. I just don't think that I have the stomach for it. But I
Mhm.
watch Chicago Med and I don't know, I just love watching those shows and then I'm always like, how accurate is this? Like, I don't know. It's too good to be true.
It is too good to be true. That's a good way to put it. It is.
So would you think the thought is it's not as sexy and as glamorous as they make it on the shows? Like
I
where every
wish.
yeah.
See?
Shoot, if that's what the doctors look like, half the people would be healed just by looking at them. I'm just saying.
Mhm.
There's no McDreamies.
No,
Mhm.
there's at least not on night shift. There's no McDreamies.
Mhm.
Maybe day shift got a different breed, but it's not night shift.
So in you learning or seeing people, show up for you, one of the things that it felt like you learned was like how to advocate for yourself, right? There were two instances in particular that definitely want to bring to the forefront as an educational moment for not only anyone who is listening who has a young person who has been recently or is has been navigating type 1 diabetes for a while on how to advocate for yourself, but then also where people 100% get it wrong. Okay. So, advocating for yourself. One of the things I want to make sure we talk about is you talked about how, in your friend circle, you were a little apprehensive at first about talking to your friend group about diabetes. And then I remember your mom sharing that you had hosted a dinner night with your friends. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired that and then what the outcome of that was?
Yes, so I probably had that dinner not long after I had that Camp 2 Sweet diabetes camp, and I think it really just helped me be like, this is my life. I can't change it. Might as well embrace it. And it was great. So I did. Me and all my friends went to Olive Garden, and while we were there, I was like, "Hey, I need to tell y'all something. I have type 1." And they were like, they had no idea what that was. They were like, "Oh yeah, my grandma has that," or "That's an old person thing," or "Does that mean you can't eat here?" Like, So it was a great place to do it, honestly, because I was eating pasta. Like the first thing people think is, oh, they can't have carbs, they can't have sweets. And I was doing it for my safety, honestly, too, because if I'm out at the mall with friends and I go down, like they need to know. They need to know what to do. They need to know who to call. They need to know what I have in order to keep me safe, in order to make the situation the best. So it was great. They were a lot more understanding than I ever would have thought. And some of them I still talk to this day about it, but it was great. So I just explained what it was. I explained how to take care of me. I explained like how to check my phone at the time of like what my numbers would be and what that would mean. It was a hard moment, but something I'm still proud of to this day that I did.
Absolutely. So it is possible, and it was just stepping out and being brave, right? Because
Mm.
that is scary. Because sometimes the things that people are unfamiliar with, they give it a title of like, ooh, you have cooties, or ooh, you have this thing that if I touch you, then I'll have it, and like, um, but sitting down with your friends and advocating, and then not only were you advocating for yourself, now you have like quadrupled the number of people who are advocating for you.
Right, because not only do they now know, but they are going to fix the rumors that they hear when they hear them if I'm not there. They are also now advocates for my diabetes and my health, and that, like you said, it's not cooties or it's not something I did wrong. Like I was doubling my support system.
So my question is, what made you have that dinner? Like, was it just a moment that you just knew you had to have that dinner, or was it like a few things that had happened that kind of brought that idea to you? Because you were very young and you basically had a come to Jesus meeting with your friends, and I know that could be very scary even to some adult people to be that transparent. But how did you at such a young age come up with that idea that you were like, you know what, it's decided, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna get it done?
I think a huge moment was I remember I had a friend invite me out to dinner probably a month or two after I got diagnosed. And I was still young enough where it was her parents calling my parents. And then my parents were like, yeah, but she has type 1. So can you send us the menu so she can carb count? And they were like, never mind. Like, she doesn't have to come. We know she can't eat that. So that was a huge
Mm.
moment for me because I was like, now you're taking away like my friends and my social experiences because they have this conception that was wrong. And so that was really like, okay, well, now I need to sit down with my friends and explain to them because I was losing out on opportunities because people are so scared of my diagnosis.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And that had to feel like shit first and
Had to.
foremost. But to be fair too, there's a certain level of responsibility that goes with having a young person in your care,
True.
who you're responsible for. And again, you are a elementary, middle school student. Like, do I trust this child to pick out what's good for her to consume? And like, what do I do? Right. Definitely wish those parents would have made a different choice of maybe having a deeper conversation with your parents,
Yeah.
instead of just sort of, backing away and saying like, hey, this is a little bit too complex for us to have to navigate.
Yeah.
Right. I do get their point of view, but it
Mhm.
could have been a deeper conversation. It could have been fixed easier than.
I think we have to normalize those conversations because I feel like maybe from that group of parents standpoint, they don't want to be nosy or ask too many questions because what if somebody gets offended? But I don't think that that would have been the case at all for your parents. But I think that sometimes as adults, we think too much of what if, or we don't want to rub somebody the wrong way. But these are important conversations because as a child, you felt shitty,
Mhm.
and but as them in their perspective, they didn't want anything to happen to you on their watch, right? Because they didn't know any better. So I think that's a good segue to just say we have to, as humans, as adults, we have to like speak up and have those conversations.
I agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. So another example of an adult getting it wrong.
Mm.
Um, we're talking about the advancements of, even in your very short life, of the research that has been done around juvenile diabetes and diabetes in general, but specifically juvenile diabetes. There have been things that have moved us away from the traditional finger prick that is always going to be the go-to. but there have been technological advancements. So I know that there is the artificial pancreas and,
Mm.
what that means and things that monitor for you that you can attach to your phone that makes life so much easier so that your dad does not have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and prick your finger.
Oh.
So when those advancements were happening, I know that there was a lot of research happening on your parents' end to find out like what is available, for her and whether there are trials and that type of thing. When you started to hear about those advancements and having a better understanding of what diabetes meant, especially after your camps and things like that, was it you that was driving the conversation on like, hey, there's this new stuff out here. Can we try it?
Right. So my parents originally had introduced me to the idea of a pump. And they're like, "Oh, but we'll think about it later on." And that's when I heard it, couldn't get it out of my head then. So then I was driving the conversation. And I was like, "Oh, look, they're having a presentation on these pumps here at this date. We're going." Like, so they gave me the idea, but I never let it go after that. So it was me that pushed for me to actually get them, which was nice.
So,
Mm-hmm.
coming from a place of wanting to know and understand, what can you explain to us what a pump is, for those of us that might not really know what that is?
Yes, I can. I've had actually every single pump that's ever been on the market. I've had it at one point, so I can. So a pump is like a little box. Some of them are tubed, some of them are not. I happen to have a not tubed one, but I used to. So it literally looks like an old school pager you wear on your hip. And basically, it's got the screen, it's got like three arrows, and you can inject yourself with insulin with it. So you have a insertion site on like your arm, your stomach, your legs. It's got a little tiny tube in it under your skin, and so instead of giving shots, you can just tell the pump, give me 3 units, or I ate this many carbs, give me 4 units. And it'll just inject it instead of doing shots. So there's less needles, and you only have to replace it every 3 days, which is a lot nicer, and a lot better on the body instead of doing multiple injections.
Oh, wow.
It's great. They weren't even really a thing when I got diagnosed. So it's a great advancement that we have now.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine pricking myself every day, so that sounds much better.
They are amazing. They stay with you in the shower. You don't have to, when you're going to the pool, you don't have to take it off and worry about going on a high blood sugar or anything like that. So it's nice.
That sounds
But insurance is a big thing, right? So, like when you were saying, like, hey, I've had everyone on the market, but we know that insurance is not the quickest thing to navigate to get you to advances. So, when we were talking about all the things and people who have advocated for you, your parents having to advocate for you with the insurance companies that had coverage for your family to convince them that it made sense for you to have it. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yes, so my poor parents spent hours upon hours arguing with the insurance companies. They would say she doesn't need an insulin pump, she has shots, she's alive and healthy, she's fine. And then my parents were advocating for me like that's not her best quality of life. She's having to stop activities, she's having to not do things to give herself shots, and they really did fight because without insurance, an insulin pump can be up to $25,000. Like no one has that money to just throw away.
mm-mm.
So for them to fight so hard and actually get it was huge for me. I had no idea what was happening at the time. I was too young, but to see it now and to see all the behind the scenes support they gave me was huge.
The test strips, Morgan, and they might have gone up now, but I know at one point the test strips were like $1 a piece
hmm Which is
for test
insane.
strips.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
as a type 1, you're testing at least 10 times a day. So, when you're spending $1 on test strips and they only come in little 30-pack bottles, one, you're living at the pharmacy, and two, you're spending a whole paycheck on diabetic supplies.
Yeah. And then there are people who financially can't afford that because not only do you have to have the test strips, but you also have to have the lancets to be able to prick yourself. And they're only supposed to be a one-time use to prevent infection. So you have $1 for a test strip, and then you have a lancet that could be another $1. So you double that. And then you have people who are having to make questionable healthcare decisions. So I know that there were people who were bleaching their lancets or rinsing out their test strips and trying to use them again because they financially couldn't afford to, pay for them.
Mhm. And
That's
unfortunately, you do still see that today.
Well, I bet. Even sometimes you have insurance and the co-payments are insane. Now imagine people that don't have insurance and have to come out of pocket. I could see that being a thing 100%.
A lot of patients that way in the hospital.
which makes it very, very sad because, again, these are things that people cannot control, but they definitely need to be able to, survive. And you have children, who are having to do this, who are not wanting to in the first place. But then on top of that, parents who are trying to scrounge money together
Mhm.
to be able to offer this because they want their mini me to be able to live the best life possible. So now imagine not budgeting for that originally, but now having to incur this this really expensive cost just to keep your child alive because it's not negotiable. It's not an
No.
option. You have to have it. You have to do. The insulin also is not free.
Oh
So,
no, it's
um,
expensive.
yeah.
Way more,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really sad, but it's the reality that we live in. So I heard you also mention something about a
The
thing
artificial pancreas?
artificial. There you go. Yes. It's like you read my mind.
Yeah, so that was what they were calling one of the original insulin pumps to come out. And that was like their big advertisement was like, it's doing the job for you, no more shots. It's essentially what they were calling a cure at the time. It wasn't, but it was. It was a huge game changer, because before the artificial pancreas, there was no option but shots. And you don't do a shot, you can end up in a coma. Like you don't have a choice. And the insulin pumps were also supposed to save you money on insulin. It's supposed to be more controlled, so you're supposed to lower your costs a little bit if you could get insurance to cover the pump.
Right. I think another thing that comes to mind because I now know because my mother-in-law lives with us and she has it's a device that she puts in her arm, and then of course she has, it beeps whenever her sugar's low or whatever the case may be. I don't know if you have something similar, but I know Shamel has something similar as well. So I guess my initial
Mhm.
thought is you have been navigating this while being in school, and now that you tell me that you're a nurse, I can only imagine how much schooling you went through. So I remember even sometimes making the slightest noise or raising my hand to go to the restroom was like frowned upon. There was many times that I was like, if I have to go, I'm walking out. But as a parent, I'm envisioning that teachers and all of that are more tolerate maybe, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I would love to know, hear from you, when that monitor beeps or you do have to step outside because you need to have a snack or whatever the case may be. Did you have a good experience with teachers, or was there any point where it kind of felt like you felt like being having diabetes disrupted their class because they made you feel bad, or any type of experience that you have with that?
Yes, so I do have a Dexcom, which is like a CGM. Type 1 diabetics get to wear two devices at all times, actually. So we always have two injection sites on us at least. And I think I was in sixth grade at the time, and my Dexcom was going off. And for anyone who hasn't heard of Dexcom, it is loud. It sounds like almost like a fire alarm going off on your phone, and you can't turn it off. So I had one go off. My blood sugar was low. My phone at the time was alerting me saying you need to eat sugar. It went off in the middle of an English class, and my English teacher stopped her lesson and was mad at me for disrupting her class because my medical device had gone off. And she took time to call me out to like make sure everyone knew it was me and make sure everyone knew that how disrespected she felt and that it was my fault. And I'll never forget, I went to the nurse's office, I called my parents. My parents were livid. I had a teacher and their job is to keep us safe. Well, my device was keeping me safe and they got mad at me for it. Like that goes against everything that a teacher should be for. I no longer felt safe in that classroom. I no longer felt like it was okay for me to have a device in that classroom. I didn't want to go back. I never did go back. Actually, I switched out of that class because of it. But it was awful, to be called out as someone who already felt all the time being looked at, being stared at, or being out of place, that was by far hard for me, especially as like a 11-year-old at the time.
That pisses me off. Oh my God. I would have been like your parents. I would have been probably caught a case. I don't know, something.
It was awful. Yeah, my parents showed or my dad showed up to the school that day. He did.
When your dad darkens the doorstep, he definitely darkens the doorstep. So how tall is your dad?
My father is 6'4", 6'5",
Ooh.
and at the time he was probably 250 plus pounds. So it was a big man coming in to fight for his daughter. I promise you that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Wow,
Mhm.
I bet.
Especially because he actually was employed at the school at the time, so he
Oh,
knew who he was going to talk to. Yep, he was a coach there at the time. So
oh wow.
Mhm.
So that's crazy, but it's true. Really, one of the takeaways that I took from that was that you're right. Teachers are supposed to be there to protect children when the parents are not, and then so for you to have felt that way, like that person should have not been an educator. Because for you to get that upset over something, and I'm assuming she knew, because I don't think she wouldn't have known either. You know.
hmm yeah, I always made it a thing. All of my teachers had to know. In fact, I kept like juice boxes in all my teachers' classrooms. So she was very well aware of the issue and she knew what the sound was. She could see it on my phone actually. And for her to call me out, I still to this day get mad about it.
Mm.
Mhm. Definitely want to be the ass on that one because you don't really realize the impact of. And Morgan, I don't know if you all talked about this in camp at all, but the number of kids who make a decision to not do because of situations like that and then end up dying.
There's a lot of cases and a lot of them don't even get told of a lot of type 1 kids, they don't want to give insulin or they don't want to advocate for themselves because they're scared of the repercussions of it. And it's sad because it's true, I can almost guarantee every type 1 diabetic has experienced a situation similar to mine and there's no other choice but to advocate for yourself and it sucks.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. It had to have been very awful. Just hearing you talk about it, I was like, I want to cry and it makes me mad at the same time. And to
hmm
know that this is probably still happening out there. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
So educators do better.
Yes.
Mhm.
Please educate yourself before you judge others.
100%. Because you never know when, the thing that you say could be, a decision maker for someone else. And then, now that young person isn't here anymore because, you
Hmm.
turned the tide in their life just because you weren't willing
It's
to
true.
educate yourself. So, Morgan Flint, you changed my life a lot too. In that, here I was a old head type 2 diabetic and did not do the best job of taking care of myself, sometimes. And in those moments where, I knew that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to, just having those, sit down conversations with your little, bright eyed self and just talking about like how some of the challenges were the same of anytime you go to eat and there is a consequence in sharing with people that you are navigating diabetes. Now everybody is monitoring your plate, they're monitoring your activities. They know your diagnosis better than you do, even though they are not there. They know nothing. The number of
Mhm.
people who are just like, oh, well, you're diabetic because you ate candy. I said, baby, you should be more worried about this roll and this baked potato than anything else you have seen me eat. Or like,
Mhm.
oh, are you supposed to have bacon? Are you worried about my cholesterol or my diabetes?
Exactly, it is.
Hmm.
Or I've had people be like, "Oh, well, eat some cinnamon," and I'm like, "No, that's not how that works." They're like, "Oh, yeah, it is," and I'm like, "Oh, because you know it and I don't." Right, right, right,
Hmm.
right.
Hmm. Well, if you just ate more fruit, Morgan, and I was like, that breaks down into natural sugar. Thank you
Right,
for
yeah, I'm
controlling my
like, "That
diet. Hmm.
just as easily brings my blood sugar up. Thank you so much."
You know so much, darling. So, so I personally want to thank you, and I hope that I have done a good job over the years of saying that to you because there was so much to learn from someone so small. In just how to advocate for myself because when your mom would come and tell me stories about the things that you all as a family were having to navigate because your diagnosis impacts your entire family, your extended family, your grandparents, everyone has to be educated that's around you,
Hmm.
right? And understanding that it was nothing to be ashamed of And hearing you talk about like having that conversation with your friends, I made it very intentional that moving forward, that every manager that I had or every team that I had that I was on, that I was going to do that same thing of like, hey, if my eyes get droopy, I won't know until I stand up that my blood sugar is low.
Mhm.
Gosh.
But you will be able to hear it in my voice because it will become very slurred. My eyes will become very little outside of the little that they already are. And here's a piece of hard candy that is in my desk. Put it into my mouth or
Immediately.
get me some orange juice immediately. Do the needful. But I learned that from you. And there have been so many life lessons that I have learned from you over the years. But in the diabetes journey, hearing about all of the things that you were learning made it so like the only reason I have a Dexcom is because of you. I knew it
Right.
existed. So then when I went to the doctor and they were like, well, we only give those to type ones. And I said, well, you're not paying for it. And
Right.
I want to be able to control my blood sugar. So I understand that you only give that to type 1. I am non compliant most days. And I am saying that that will help me. You are not paying for it. I'm saying that I want it. Put the script in. If my insurance declines it, then
Hmm.
I will have a conversation with them. But you, as a doctor, don't get to tell me no.
Right.
You don't get to tell me no. And one of the beautiful things that I remember is your mom actually helped to put my first sensor on me.
I love that.
And because I was like, well, I don't know where am I supposed to do. They didn't really give me instructions when I went to the doctor's office because they didn't want me to have it in the first place. And your mom was like, bring it to work and I'll put it on for you.
It is.
And
It's
yeah, so it is. I want to say thank you because my diabetes journey was made easier just because of being able to watch what you went through. And I truly learned how to advocate and understanding that advocacy is not just something that adults do, but that children do it as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Knowing just that I can at least get one more person to advocate for themselves really makes it for me because that's my whole goal is, I advocate for myself. I want to show other people that it's possible and you can do it. No matter how hard it may seem, it's possible.
Oh, that is awesome. Morgan, I do want to invite you to have a little cut up time. So we are gonna do things a little bit backwards with you. We're gonna give you a quick little fun round of questions before we end today's call. But before we get into the fun, I just wanted to kind of touch into your amazing brain and heart and talk to those people, parents, children that maybe have just gotten diagnosed and they kind of feel like, damn, my life is completely going to change. They don't know yet if for the worst or the good. But what would you tell somebody that's going through it, or even somebody like from as like for my as myself, I'll put myself as an example. I have people around my life that do have diabetes, but I never want to be that person that's like, oh, do this, do that, because I don't know. I don't know it like y'all know
Mhm.
it. So how can somebody advocate or just be there supporting without it feeling like, oh, you're doing too much?
Yeah, and I know this sounds cheesy, but I think the best thing is really just to ask. I have friends that are type 1 diabetic, and their support and what they need is completely different than mine. So it really is about asking what they personally need, whether that's carrying some candy on you when you're with them, that could make a huge difference itself. Or, just knowing signs to help them out, or, like taking any kind of stress off of them. I think it's really best just to ask them point blank because everyone's going to be different. People are going to have good and bad days. So it's really just important to ask when you're with them.
I love that. Oh, so easy, so easy. We cannot do it. See, and then finally, just to
Hmm.
piggyback to those people that have just been diagnosed, what would be the one advice or a tip that you would give them?
Don't let it define you. It sucks. There's no sugarcoating it. Type 1's not glamorous, but you just have to accept it and it makes you stronger. Be okay with advocating for yourself because if you can get through this, you can get through anything.
Love that. I
Look at the
love
tear up.
that.
Mama, the
Oh,
mama tears. So it's about to start. The mama.
okay. I know it's because I could see. Oh, okay. So go ahead, Ross. Start the speed round. Start the cut up.
Yeah. So before we get into the speed round of things, Morgan, if you can share with the folks like all of the things that you have been able to do um, from being that little girl in fourth grade who, got that diagnosis that 100% changed her life. What have been the major accomplishments that you have been able to check off in your life now that you are a whole 22-year-old?
Oof.
Right. So when I learned that diabetes didn't have to define me, I started living life. I went to Spain by myself. I went to Ecuador by myself. I graduated with my first college degree in 3 years. I'm getting my second now in two. I stopped letting it define me and I stopped letting it stop me. And here I am doing all these things I've always wanted to do.
Oh, I
You
love
see how you left
that.
softball out of that? Where's
Oh
softball
yeah.
in the mix there, doll
Played
baby?
played softball for 16 years on 3 teams. Played college rugby on a D1 sport. Was in a sorority. Still went to parties in college. Like everything is still possible. There's absolutely nothing that a type 1 couldn't do.
Oh, I love that. Oh my god. And she does
Mhm.
wine night, so
I
means
do be
that
doing wine
yeah.
nights, working 4 jobs. Everything is possible.
I love
Mhm.
that. Oh. Yeah, thank you for sharing that because there you go. That's exactly what you just said, that don't let it define you. So I'm so proud of you. I know that I barely met you, but like it's just I have a 21-year-old and now that you say you're 22, I'm like, oh,
Thank you, thank you. No, that means a lot. It really does. Thank you.
yeah, that's amazing. All right, so we promised her some fun. We promised her some cut up. So Ross the boss, take it away.
Mhm. Mhm. Most important question, and I think I know what you're gonna say, but understand it's judgment free. Roanoke County or Roanoke City?
Oh.
Counting. But I worked for both. I worked for the city and the county and the government. So
Okay.
like I get it both.
Okay.
There
Okay.
you go.
Okay. Okay.
Period. So
Mhm.
listen, there are some people on this call that shall not be named, Ross the boss, that are anti-wine. But what is yes, girl. Yes, I know. I don't know. It's just some people are not in the right side of things, but we gotta love them anyway. You know. What is your wine of choice?
Ooh, probably like a Chardonnay. Yeah.
Oh, yummy. Mm,
Yeah. But like you give me
Yummy is
sangria
wild.
all day long.
I love me some good sangria.
Mhm. Then I'll do liquor too. Don't be fooled. Like I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
picky over here. I
yeah,
do it all.
yeah. Same,
Mm,
same.
Participate in all the things.
You have to equal opportunity.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right, Morgan. As a music lover, what has been your favorite concert that you have done? See, that you've done this year. This
Oh,
year, just
okay.
this year,
She said
So
this
just
year.
this.
I went
Hmm.
on solo concert. I'd like to do those. Luke Combs. I went to see him in Charlottesville.
Major
Yep,
FOMO.
that
I
was
haven't seen that Luke yet. I saw Luke Bryant,
oh,
but I haven't seen Combs, and I want
he's
to.
good. That was my graduation present to myself, and it was worth every penny. It was so good.
God, I love that. Oh, yes, we have something in common. A few things already. So,
Yeah.
all right.
I'll take you with me next time.
Yeah. Okay. Bet. Okay, so since we know that diabetes will never define you, tell us what is one of the craziest things that you've done?
Ooh. I guess my parents will find this out when I listen to this. When I was in Spain on a solo trip, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna get a tattoo, permanent souvenir. I found a guy in his apartment to give me one for $5. I was using Google Translate to talk to him. I wasn't alone with him, but yeah, I did do
Please,
that.
please tell me. See, the adventurous side of me is like, yes, yes, I would have done that too. The parent side of me is like, please tell me that you saw him open up a brand new
I
needle and all
watched
the
him
things.
I watched him clean, I watched him with a brand new needle. I didn't know some of the stuff to look to, and look, it gave me a whole big sleeve now, so
Oh
but yeah,
wow. Okay.
it was $5, and I was like, "Oh, yeah." Might not have been my greatest decision, but no regrets.
I'm so glad that you are moving out before this podcast episode drops. Cause you
I
might not be moving. I'm just saying.
All right.
Your dad's,
know.
your dad's 6'4", 6'5", might be a 6'2", 6'3" now, but he's still that guy.
I might wake up with a padlock outside my door.
Correct. So it does not drop till Friday. Get all of your stuff out
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
You still got time. You got a week. You got about a week.
okay, I can do that. I can do that.
Like, Lord have mercy.
I
What
love
in
that.
the
She didn't
world?
she didn't disappoint. I was like, let me see if she does have a crazy. Oh, that's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, what is one goal that you have in the next 5 years that you want to accomplish?
So that's actually has to do with my career. So I will be getting my flight nurse certification. So I will be the one in the helicopters going to all the traumas. That's my next goal.
Period.
Nice.
Yeah, I do. I love
Go off.
trauma, so I'm very excited for that.
I
Nice.
love
Nice. Go
that.
off.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to talk offline on what that means. Like what extra you got to do. Not that you won't do it, but just what exactly did the additional mean?
Next thing you know, she's gonna be like, I'm gonna be a submarine nurse, and we're gonna be like, we don't know what that is, but yes, go.
She has created a whole new genre. There's a whole new uh, path to go to now that has been created by Morgan Flynt.
As it should. Like, I'm not surprised at all.
I'll let you know when it
Sweet. Okay, Z, if you will allow me, I have this one last one, and this one should make Morgan giggle really hard.
Of course.
Your favorite Bath and Body Works fragrance?
Mahogany Teakwood extra intense, 100%.
That is one of the best ones.
Mahogany Teakwood intense. I call it my man scent because it smells like a good smelling man to me, as I'm chronically single by choice. But I'm like, ooh, let me just smell it all day long. I love it.
That was gonna be one of my questions about single. She just said by choice, which as you should. But that is like the best fragrance. You're right. I bought it for my partner, and I'm like, yeah, can you put it on? Just want to smell it.
I have it burning right now, so I love it to death.
I love
So
that.
Z, that was one of the things that Morgan and I would connect on of like, hey, there's a new Bath and Body Works sale. The coupons just came out. You can use
Seriously.
all of the coupons in the collection at one time. What fragrances do you have? So definitely hilarious that it is still a thing. I may or may not have some Mahogany Teakwood cologne that I got when they used to sell the big bottles.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's so good.
It is so
My mom
good.
hates it, but okay.
No, it is so good. Like, you just gotta smell it, and it smells so manly, like in a good way.
It's
Yeah.
it's a good
100%.
man smell.
So Morgan, it has been a pleasure to have you on Unmuted. Um, if anybody wants to reach out to you, first of all, are they allowed to? Because we don't want to, throw them your way and then it'll be like stalker vibes. But if they wanted to reach out to you and talk to you a little bit more, where can they find you? Are you on social media?
Yeah, so I'd love for anyone to reach out to me. Unlike most people, I don't have Instagram, but I do have Facebook. I am that Facebook mom without kids, but I love it. So they can reach to me on Facebook. It's just Morgan Flynt. And I'd be happy to talk to anyone.
All right, awesome. And then, it's tradition around here. You have to end this with a quote and a moment of inspiration or even a good song recommendation for our family and friends. So, Morgan, take it away.
So my quote, and it's actually gonna be a tattoo for me soon, is "You are stronger than your numbers."
Ooh, I like
Hello.
that. I like
I
that.
like
I
it.
like that. I
I
like
like
it
it.
more
I
that it's
like
gonna
it.
be a tattoo, but you
Yeah.
gotta show me that picture.
I will.
Well, Morgan, as always, Dollface, we thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. I love you to the moon and back. And
Thank you.
yeah, and thank you so much for sharing with us. And I hope that for those listening today, that you walk away a little more educated about the diagnoses or the disabilities that aren't as visible. And the fact that there are beautiful spirits, beautiful accomplishments behind those people who live with those diagnoses. Like that does not determine the outcome of their lives. So Morgan, again, thank you so much, and y'all always remember one goal: stay unmuted.
Until next time. Bye.
Don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. And always staying unmuted.